on Comcast Sportsnet, part of the NBC Sports Group.
Cub fans filing into the ballpark tonight, grabbing their Starlin Castro bobblehead. We're set for Chicago Cubs baseball here on Comcast Sportsnet. Game 1 of a 3-game series as the Cubs welcome in the Houston Astros. And hi again, everyone. Along with Bob Brenly, I'm Len Casper. Overcast and wet. It rained all day, but we should be in pretty good shape the rest of the way tonight. Cubs have dropped 11 of 12, but remember, Bob, they had that 19-10 stretch in which they jumped past the Astros. We're going to do a little comparison in terms of the standings.
Yeah, at least the Cubs have had some good stretches of the season. For the Astros, it has been an unmitigated disaster. You see how far they have fallen in the standings in a short period of time. The average age of the Astros, the youngest in Major League Baseball, it shows on their play on the field right now.
Cubs try to snap a 3-game losing streak, and the Astros actually coming off a series win. They took 2 of 3 from the Milwaukee Brewers, and both wins were game-ending hits. We'll have the first game of this series coming up from Wrigley Field.
In part by your Chicago area and Northwest Indiana Lexus dealer, who invites you to test drive a Lexus today. Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. Through it all. Liberty Mutual Insurance. Responsibility. What's your policy? Toyota. Right now you can get a lot for less at your local Toyota dealer, official partner of the Chicago Cubs. The new wireless receiver from AT&T Uverse. Visit att.com/freeyourtv. Rethink possible. BMO Harris Bank. Helping money make sense. BMO Harris Bank. NA member FDIC. And by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com.
Prior to tonight's game, Edward Jones representative Tim Garland presented the Edward Jones Player of the Month Award to Anthony Rizzo for his outstanding play in the month of July. Edward Jones making sense of investing. Well, as we said, it's wet here at the ballpark, but not raining. It stopped about an hour ago, and we will start on time. And as we do get started tonight, we do have some bad news, some sad news to pass along. As the baseball world mourns the passing of Johnny Pesky, who became Mr. Red Sox, died at age 92, made his major league debut back in 1942. His number 6 was retired a few years ago. And he will be missed, and know about the pesky pole. That's the foul pole in right field at Fenway Park.
Yeah, probably inappropriately named. Mel Parnell, one of his teammates with the Red Sox, named that pole. He said that Johnny Pesky hit a home run to win a ball game for him, but going back through the records, Johnny Pesky never hit a home run when Mel Parnell was a winning pitcher. He only had 17 home runs in his career, 6 of those at Fenway, but he'll forever be remembered because of that right field foul pole and, of course, everything he contributed to that organization over the years.
The Cubs made a roster move today. They have optioned left-hander Brooks Raley to AAA Iowa. Has nothing to do with his performance yesterday, and he was pretty good. As he went 6 innings, gave up 3 runs. There's a decent chance he'll come back and pitch one of the games of the doubleheader on Saturday in Cincinnati. Michael Bowden, the right-handed reliever, did a good job at AAA Iowa, so the Cubs add to their bullpen here for the next few days. As we mentioned, the Cubs have lost 3 straight and 11 of 12. Their pitching hasn't been that bad. They're just not scoring runs. And hopefully they can get their offense going against the 6th place Astros, who've had a real problem here lately, although they did take 2 of 3 from Milwaukee, but it has been a major struggle for them on the road this season. And a little bit later, our good friend Eddie Olczyk, the fine TV analyst of the Chicago Blackhawks here on Comcast Sportsnet, will conduct the 7th inning stretch and had a chance to throw out the ceremonial first pitch. A U.S. Hockey Hall of Famer got a nice hand from the crowd.
Yeah, a lot of hockey fans here at Wrigley Field, always, but especially tonight to honor Eddie. And we're looking forward to having him up here in the booth in the 7th inning.
Still waiting for the Cubs to take the field. And led by starting pitcher Jeff Samardzija. Here they come. Samardzija making his 23rd start of the year. And let's get the Astros Southwest starting lineup. 11-46 on the road. Tyler Greene, recently acquired from the St. Louis Cardinals, will lead it off at short. Jose Altuve, their all-star, at second. Brett Wallace, recently back from the minors. Steve Pearce is red hot. He's going to clean up in right. Justin Maxwell's in center. Jason Castro just off the DL. Switch hitting Marwin Gonzalez plays third. It's Fernando Martinez out in left and Armando Galarraga, the pitcher.
And let's take a look at the Cubs defensively tonight at a soggy Wrigley Field. It'll be Soriano, Jackson, and DeJesus left to right across the outfield. Josh Vitter, Starlin Castro, Darwin, Barney, Anthony Rizzo will make up the infield, third to first. Wellington Castillo doing the catching tonight. Right-hander Jeff Samardzija. Coming off a real good outing against the Padres. Unfortunately, it was a 2-0 Cubs loss. It was 1-0 when Jeff left the ball game. 7 innings, 4 hits. Only the 1 run surrendered in that game. 6 of his last 7 have been quality starts.
Todd Titchener will call the balls and strikes. Tony Randazzo, Mike Muchlinski, and recruit chief Brian Gorman will round out the umpires tonight. Also in that game, Samardzija snapped a bat over his knee after one of his at-bats. I was talking to him the other day. He actually did the same thing in spring training during the bunting tournament. He said that time he went a little higher up on the leg, and he said it really hurt. So he realized get the thinnest part of the bat more toward the knee, and he said it broke like a twig. I think it's something that we'd like to see repeated, but it did break rather easily.
Break it over his head, you do less damage. Come on. Trying to find a place to break your bat so you don't hurt yourself is bad. That doesn't make any sense.
So here's a former Cardinal, Tyler Greene, and he takes a fastball in there for a strike. Acquired on Thursday from St. Louis. 4 for 10, 2 doubles, a homer, a steal, and 4 runs so far as an Astro. Cardinals get a player to be named later or cash considerations. And there is a connection. Jeff Luhnow, the general manager of the Astros. Spent a long time in the Cardinals organization. .65 degrees and a north wind at 1.
Not even enough to move the flags. We mentioned the rain that fell last night and throughout most of the afternoon today. The warning track all the way around the field, extremely wet, extremely soft. There's standing water in several different spots around the field. Infield is in great shape. It was covered all day and all night, but the outfield grass extremely wet. Watch for balls that roll through the infield, through the outfield grass. Going to be tough to find a good grip.
This is the 7th of 15 games between these two teams. First two series were home sweeps by each club as Samardzija gets a swing and a miss for the first out.
Like an elevated fastball that time from Samardzija. Possibly a four-seamer at 96. Didn't have the same kind of sinking action that he normally gets. Big key for Jeff is always that split-fingered fastball. If he's got a good feel for it, he can use it as his out pitch and bury these Astros hitters. If he struggles with the splitter, could be a rough night.
There's All-Star Jose Altuve, 22 years old, the second youngest Astros All-Star ever. Cesar Cedeno was 21 when he was an All-Star back in 1972.
Mentioned in the open of the show, the Astros have the youngest average age on their roster, just a tick under 26.5 years old, the average age of the Astros players. Cubs are third on that list.
The Astros, Royals, and Cubs, the three youngest teams in baseball. 2-1. Overcast all day, but the forecast so far has played out just like we read it a day ago. It's going to rain all day until about 6 o'clock. 3-1.
You know, as we've watched Jeff Samardzija throughout this 2012 season, Len, he's tried to make adjustments himself out there on the mound. There have been times he's tried to work in the curveball, a little slower breaking pitch. For a while he scrapped his slider and just went with the cut fastball. Then he's had starts where he's used both of those pitches in the same game. But it all comes back to that split finger, as I mentioned earlier. If he's got that pitch working, he can be as good as anybody.
Brings up the first baseman, Brett Wallace. Wallace appeared to be the future first baseman for a while. He still might be. Got demoted to the minors at the trade deadline last year. And he's back up for the second time this year. He's been really good. This is his 24th game. In 307, he's slugging .520.
We've talked a lot, especially in the second half of the season, about the opportunities presented to some of the young Cubs players because of the circumstances, as Altuve will steal that base uncontested. And the Astros are in the same boat. A lot of opportunities to win jobs, find your place on a major league roster next season.
It's a 25th steal for Altuve. He's in the top 10 in the National League. One missed, 2-1. It would be foolish to try to compare where each franchise is in terms of, the rebuild or the building of the organization and the big league roster with new people at the top of the baseball department. But it will be interesting to see how it does go for the Astros compared to the Cubs over the next several years. The Astros are going to move to the American League West next year, so we'll have to watch from generally afar. 3-1 to Wallace. Hit well out into deep right center. Jackson going after it, and he gets it. Nice grab by Brett Jackson right up against the wall in right center.
With the conditions we've had here at Wrigley throughout this homestand, this might be the easiest play Brett Jackson has had. No wind tonight. One quick peek at the vines. Nice running catch over the shoulder and quickly got it back in to hold Altuve at second base. Nicely done.
Wind, no factor whatsoever. It's the wet grounds. That's the issue. And here's Steve Pearce with a career best 8-game hitting streak, hitting .407 during this streak. Pearce started the year at AAA in the Yankees organization. Traded to Baltimore in early June. And then the Astros claimed him on waivers in late July. It's dropped by Castillo. Maybe a cross up there as he heads right out to talk to Samardzija.
Yeah. See that kind of reaction from a catcher, and then the telltale sign is always going right out to the mound immediately after the pitch. They'll tell you there was some kind of a cross up there on the signs. Congratulations.
You know, it's not Tiara night, it's Starlin Castro bobblehead night. Fastball strike 1-2.
Well, that pitch has to make Dale Swain very happy. That's what he's been pounding to the Cubs pitching staff in general, but Jeff Samardzija specifically. That fastball on the outside corner. What did he tell us earlier? Slugging percentage was about .220 on that particular pitch. Even when that ball is put into play, very little damage is done. That fastball at the knees on the outside corner. There was a time it looked like Steve Pearce was going to be a fixture with the Pirates. He made his major league debut with them back in '07. Hit .294 in 23 games. A cup of coffee each season, sometimes a little bit more than that with the Pirates, until, as you mentioned, bounced around a little bit last year and this year. And for him, too, an opportunity to win a spot on this Astros roster moving forward.
Tony Randazzo playing about as deep as you can as a first base umpire. He's good 10 feet behind the dirt. Popped into left. Soriano going back on it. He's going to have room right in front of the warning track to end the inning. Altuve stranded at second. The Cubs coming up against righty Armando Galarraga. Ranking last in the majors in runs scored. They'd like to pick things up. DeJesus Vitters batting second tonight. Anthony Rizzo third. Soriano, Castro, and Castillo in the middle. Brett Jackson gets a nod in center. Darwin, Barney at second, and Jeff Samardzija ninth.
Quick look at the Astros defensively tonight. It'll be Martinez, Maxwell, and Pierce left to right across the outfield. Former Cub Marwin Gonzalez, former Cub farmhand Marwin Gonzalez at third base. It'll be Greene and Altuve making up the double play combo up the middle. Brett Wallace over at first base. Doing the catching tonight for the Astros, Jason Castro, and he'll be receiving pitches from right-hander Armando Galarraga.
Fourth start as an Astro.
Has not been pretty. You see the fastball slider change-up combination for Galarraga. When good, he gets a lot of ground balls. When bad, he walks a lot of guys. 3 starts this year, a total of 15 1/3 innings pitched, giving up a hit per inning, also a walk per inning.
Over his last 2 starts, 13 walks and 10 1/3. He's got a patient hitter leading off, and David DeJesus 2-1. .6'4" righty coming back. It's lifted in the air down the left field line. And no play for Martinez.
Last couple of years for Galarraga, his longest outing has been 7 innings. He did it twice against the Cubs, both times.
0-6 over his last 8 major league starts. He's looking for his first win since April 19th. Of last year when he was an Arizona Diamondback. He was also close to a perfect game and should have had one. The infamous game against Cleveland. Jim Joyce, a first base umpire, called Jason Donald safe. He clearly should have been out. Shortstop backpedaling, that's Greene, and he makes a grab for the out.
It would be too easy to go to instant replay talking about the potential perfect game for Armando Galarraga, but I think what it illustrates is when a good umpire like Jim Joyce, very conscientious, he hustles, a lot of energy, takes great pride in his job. When even he can make a mistake like that at a crucial point in a ball game, maybe it's time to let the computers take it.
Josh Vitters with a ground ball smothered by Gonzalez. The throw to first in time. 2 excellent defensive plays early on. Jackson's catch out in center, and Marwin Gonzalez.
I had a chance to see Marwin Gonzalez play as he was coming up through the Cubs minor league system. I think one thing that hurt him with the Cubs was his versatility. He played all over the field. He played corner outfield. He played all the infield positions, and he was very good at all of them, but not superior at any one. Could have possibly found a home here in Houston. We talk all the time about those guys who can play multiple positions and how valuable that is, but when you're in the minor league, sometimes that can impede your progress through the system.
You don't project as a starter at any position.
Right.
Yeah. 2 outs and 1-0 the count on Anthony Rizzo. Been fairly quiet here recently. He's had a couple of big games, but over his last 12 collectively hitting .196. And 2-1. This happens a lot. You have career performance and then you struggle in the aftermath, and that's been the case for Galarraga. He was a Tiger at the time, on his second team since, and this is only his 4th start at this level here in 2012. Little flare into center for a base hit. First hit of the night for either team. And now Alfonso Soriano, he and Armando Galarraga were involved in the same trade on December 8th, 2005. Soriano went from the Rangers to the Washington Nationals, and Galarraga was part of the package that went the other way.
Well, Soriano is glad to be facing Galarraga tonight.
Yes.
5 for 9 in his career against Armando Galarraga. 3 of his last 4 hits have been homers. 3 of his last 4 at bats have resulted in home runs.
Soriano leans in for the 0-1. That's inside. Yanked foul out of play. And stung a little bit. You see Soriano shaking his right hand.
Caught that pitch way out in front of home plate. Got fooled a little bit. Just the mechanics of the swing. You make contact at a point you're not accustomed to making contact. He was so far out in front of home plate that time. Take there on a slider just off the outside corner. We've seen Fonzie chase that pitch about 1,000,000 times.
Kick the pitch, and that slider he could not find. First strikeout for Galarraga. Cubs strand one. We're scoreless after an inning.
Now you can visit Cubs.com and click on the CBOE front row seats auction to bid on tickets in the front row, behind home plate, and along the first base line. Front row seats will be auctioned off to every game all season long, so don't miss your chance. Go to Cubs.com and check out the CBOE front row seats auction today.
Underway in the second. Strike on Justin Maxwell, playing center field, leading the Astros active roster with 12 home runs. How about this? 6 of the 12, half his homers, have come in games started by Lucas Harrell. He's going to start tomorrow night. Wondering who leads the team in home runs. It's Jed Lowry, their shortstop, with 14, but Lowry's on the DL. He's got a sprained ankle and a nerve injury in his leg.
You mentioned Lowry with 14 bombs, Maxwell with 12, the only two Astros in double digits.
There is one other guy, but he's in the minors, J.D. Martinez, not on their current roster. That's kind of surprising. I mean, not that he got demoted, but how much J.D. Martinez has struggled. I mean, he was up late last year. He had some impressive at-bats against the Cubs as Maxwell strikes out. And here's who's not here. Their first and third baseman traded away. Their ace pitcher, another starter, Jay Happ, and their closer, Brett Myers. That's a lot to lose.
Well, the reality is they weren't winning with those guys, and we talked about it already in the telecast. Very similar boat that the Cubs are in right now, trying to rebuild, restock their farm system, and move forward as they jump into the American League next year.
Jason Castro fouls off. This is his first game off the DL. Missed almost a month with a right knee injury, a right knee effusion. You care to define effusion?
That's a new one,
viewers.
That's a new one.
Well, he stays hot on his rehab assignment. Couple of stops in the Astros chain. Castro was 10 for 18. Comes back from the DL and smacks a single into right. It wouldn't be that somebody was so effusive in their praise of him that he injured his knee. That wouldn't make sense, would it?
I don't think so.
Effusion. I thought I saw he had fluid in his knee. Is that what it means?
Well, I'm looking on the ever popular Wikipedia.
You can always trust that.
Yeah, it's a physics term, actually. It's the process in which individual molecules flow through a hole without collisions between molecules. In physics. I'm not sure how that applies to a knee injury. I'll see if I can track it down a little more. Joint effusion. That sounds like the right thing, huh? Water on the knee. There you go.
Okay. There's got some fluid in there.
Yeah. You get an inflammation, and yeah, you get some extra fluid on the joint, causing some stiffness and tightness.
Try to turn it here. 4-6. Little bobble. They still get it. 4-6-3 on the double play to end the Astros second in a 0-0 tie. Game time is 7:05. Make sure you arrive early. The first 10,000 fans get a Cubs replica game cap, brought to you by Comcast Sportsnet. For more information and to purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com. It's turning into a nice night.
Actually see some sun reflecting off the buildings out way past the right field bleachers out there. Need your sunglasses here in a minute. Love it.
Here's the real thing. Starlin batting fifth, leading off the second. That's a little bit of an adjustment for a guy who hit third, second, even lead off early on in his career, but not batting until the second inning.
That's probably the only adjustment for Starlin Castro. We've talked about it before. He has the same approach, whether he's hitting first or seventh, makes no difference to him.
In fact, Dale Swain was asked about Starlin and whether or not he wants guys to change their approach depending on where they hit, and he agreed with you. He said it doesn't matter where Starlin hits, his approach is going to be the same. But he also said you can't expect guys to fundamentally change depending on where they are in the lineup, especially a young guy. It's putting too much stuff in their head. He drills that one out into left center for a base hit. Maxwell will get it back in quickly. It's a leadoff single.
Well struck ball that time by Castro toward that gap in left center field. That's a real nice play out there in center to cut that ball off. That first bounce, it kind of hydroplanes off the wet grass. Got over there and hustled it back in, holding Castro to a single.
Now the catcher, Wellington Castillo. We'll see if Castro thinks about running here. I think he's run as much as he would have liked to when the season started. Actually ran a lot early. Obviously he hasn't been getting on base a ton here recently. Starlin with 18 steals, and the Cubs trying to create some offense here. Got shut out yesterday. Already for the 11th time this season. And there he goes. At least the Cubs will stay out of the double play.
You mentioned Jason Castro just back off the disabled list. He's 8 for 47 in his previous go-round with the Astros. That's 17% caught stealing percentage, as you see Castillo ground out to short on that hit and run. Cubs just haven't run much lately. A lot of times they find themselves in a position where they're down by a lot of runs early, and you don't want to run into outs on the bases. Just let your hitter swing away and try to slug your way back into a ball game. But I'd like to see Castro, and we've seen Soriano. He's been the Cubs' best base stealer recently. Picks his spots well. Has the element of surprise working for him almost every time he gets on base. Red Jackson, another guy that can steal some bases.
Brett looking for his first career RBI. 0-2. That's what Galarraga have rather done with Castro in an 0-2 spot, but he threw him a very hittable pitch. He's trying to get the young Jackson to go out of the zone here.
And It doesn't take long for a scouting report to work its way around the league. Red Jackson's major league career in its infancy, but opposing pitchers know where his weaknesses are, and they're going to try to exploit them every time they get a chance. We know pitchers make mistakes. That's where you have to be ready to take advantage. And they do make mistakes in the middle of the plate with a pitch you can handle.
He got him on a changeup. That was a pretty good one. It's a strike to ball changeup. Paraphrase a Dale Swain line, which I like a lot. Strike to ball meaning looks like a strike, ends up out of the zone.
Starts in the strike zone, but the late movement and the change of speeds gets Jackson way out in front.
Castro on his way to third. Throw there. Safe. You gotta be right to go 2 outs, and he was. 2 steals in the inning. Or rather, 1 steal in the inning as Castillo put that other ball in play.
Looked like Marwin Gonzalez tried to drop that left leg down there and block third base. He might have done it too.
Well, you can do that, but you also have to realize there are spikes heading your way.
Yeah, you have to pay the price for it. Yeah, no doubt about it. That's a defensive move you'll see more often when a base runner has a reputation for going in head first.
Ooh. I'm amazed he didn't get spiked. I mean, it looked like he may have had him.
I mean, if you know that base runner is a head-first slider all the time, that is a very...
That's deep to left for Darwin. Barney gone. A 2-run homer. And every homer he hits now, a new career high. That's 6 on the year.
I just mentioned being ready to take advantage of mistake pitches in the middle of the plate, and that's exactly what Galarraga does to Darwin Barney. Just floats a changeup up there on the inside part of the plate. Oh, with another line drive home run, straight away left field.
8th homer of his career. They've all been here at Wrigley.
And they've probably all been within a couple of seats of where that one landed.
Beneficiary is Jeff Samardzija with a 2-0 lead.
Could be tonight, partner. I think this could be the night. No wind blowing at all. Galarraga has a propensity to give up the long ball. Jeff knows he's running out of starts.
Oh. Not this time. Well, the guy in the back row in the bleachers thought you were right. He stood up, thought it was headed his way. Barney gave Bleacher Right a souvenir on a 2-run blast.
On Division for a chance to show off your sports knowledge and fill up your tank on our new game show, Gas Money, presented by Honda. Hosts Luke Stuckmeyer and Susanna Collins will be looking for die-hard Chicago sports fans to step up to the challenge. Be there tomorrow night at 7 at the 50-50.
You just wouldn't want to be driving a smart car. You want to drive something big.
Yeah.
You know, fill it up.
Go there in your monster truck, your hot rod.
2-0 on the Darwin Barney home run. Left fielder Fernando Martinez will lead it off. J.D. Martinez recently sent down to the minors. Swing and a miss, 1-1. Fourth start in left for Fernando Martinez. He was recalled from AAA on Friday. Second stint with the Astros this season. Swing and a miss. Sargent missed his spot by about a foot, but he still got the desired result.
Yeah, good miss. Well, if you're ahead in the count, you want to waste a pitch. You want to make sure you throw it in a location where that batter can't not do damage. And that time, Martinez swung right through a pitch, shoulder high, way out of the strike zone away.
Galarraga takes a fastball in there for a strike. Lots of time for Starlin. 2 outs. And back to the top and Tyler Greene. Well, young Maddox Johnson is celebrating his first birthday tonight with parents Phil and Erica. They're in from North Liberty, Iowa. Big old number 1. Maddox Johnson, M-A-D-D-U-X.
Mike Maddox fans.
I'm thinking maybe Mike's younger brother.
Maybe they have a thing about pitching coaches. You never know. I'm pretty sure it's Greg Maddox that the youngster was named after. What a great name.
The 1-1 to Greene, lined into center for a base hit. Mentioned, Greene traded from the Cardinals. They were in the playoff chase to the Astros, who have the worst record in baseball. And he gets an opportunity here to play every day. He's got a lot of tools, but he's pretty inconsistent with the Cardinals. The Astros taking a flyer on him.
Well, and in the situation the Cardinals are in, and usually are in every year, a playoff contending team, they don't really have the luxury of waiting for a guy to figure it out. He was a very valuable member of the Cardinals teams because of his versatility, his speed, and I think everybody in the Cardinals organization felt he was going to be a really good major league player, and probably will still be, but get the opportunity here in Houston to blossom into the player that everybody thinks he's going to be.
Long pause by Samardzija. The pitch is inside. We often talk about baseball players coming in all shapes and sizes. Jose Altuve is listed at 5'5", 168. We know how the height and weight listings sometimes lie, but if you say he's 5'5", that's as tall as he possibly could be. Because I'll tell you, if he were 5'5 and a half, they'd list him at 5'6 at least. They got Greene. Oh, safe. Looked like they had him. He was leaning and he got back late. How did he get back in? Out.
He's out. Good quick move by Samardzija that time, showing some quick feet. A nice snap tag by Anthony Rizzo over there at first base. The throw is right on the bag. Very close, but they did get Greene that time.
Usually not much of a risk taker. See, he's perfect in the stolen base department. Big lead right now, and Samardzija throws over again. Samardzija keeping a very close watch on Greene over there. I guess you could say Jose Altuve has the lowest strike zone in the majors, right?
I think so. Well, he controls that strike zone very well. He leads all National League second basemen in hits, batting average, tied for first in runs scored, has 41 multi-hit games, and one of only 3 players with at least 35 extra base hits and now 25 stolen bases.
And he strikes out to end the Astros' third. A couple of punch outs for Samardzija in the inning. Cubs lead 2-0. Part of it with Vineline, the official magazine of the Chicago Cubs. Vineline gives you insider access to all your favorite Cubs from the past, present, and future. Subscriptions start at just $29.95. For more information and to order, visit Cubs.com/BuyLine. I assume that's decaf. Jesus leading off for the Cubs in the third, and a sinker for a strike from Galarraga.
Was that his second big gulp? There was another one sitting right there on the bench. Better be decaf.
Good changeup. 0-2.
Uncle,
Cotton candy next. Let's go.
That move right there, we just saw David DeJesus do it. I was thinking about that earlier today. I was watching some highlights, and every hitter has something very similar to that they do before they get in the batter's box, where they look at the bat almost as if they're trying to communicate with it. All right. Make sure you see the ball and hit it hard somewhere. Knock the dirt out of his cleats, and at some point he's going to stare straight at that bat. Right there. Mentally getting himself prepared before getting into that batter's box and going to work.
Full count, 3-2. Rookie Josh Vitters on deck. Started 0-2 and ended up walking. I saw a tweet from the Oklahoma City Redhawks. Mike Hessman for the home run in the second inning tonight for his 30th of the year. I decided to look up Mike Hessman's career numbers. He's had a little big league time, a corner infielder. 109 big league games with Atlanta, Detroit, and the Mets. Career 188 hitter with 14 home runs in 109 games. But his minor league numbers are interesting. As an 18-year-old in 1996, he made his debut in the Gulf Coast League with the Braves. 17 seasons in the minor leagues. Almost 1,800 games. He's now hit 365 home runs in the minors. Now that includes 10 years at AAA.
Jeez.
I don't know what the all-time career record for minor league home runs is, but most guys just don't play that long. He played for AAA Toledo and played over 100 games for Toledo from 2005 to 09, 5 consecutive years. And while most guys have to rent, he probably actually could have bought a home in Toledo and paid it off. Now the problem is he's been a career .231 hitter in the minors. So while he's hit for power and a lot of home runs, he has not hit for average. Ground ball smothered by Gonzalez. Quickly gets one. Safe at first. Vitters beats out the double play. Another good play by Marwin Gonzalez. Well, he robbed Vitters of a hit in the first inning. So Mike Hessman, we salute you.
Yes, indeed.
He clearly loves playing baseball, and he still may hang around for a while. He's only 34. Fastball low and outside to Anthony Rizzo. I think of some other guys in recent history had that long a run at the minor league level. Alan Zinter comes to mind. Guy who at one time was in the Cubs organization. 19 seasons. Finished up an independent ball in 07. Vitters takes off. He's going to get in and he's going to head to third. First career steal for Vitters.
High throw from Jason Castro gets into center field. Vitters with his slide with his back to home plate. That way he can see into center field on an overthrow. Got up quickly and able to advance on to third base. Tell you what, you make this Astros team throw the ball around the field, you've got a chance for some good things to happen. They've had some snowball fights this year.
And they'll bring their infield in. A 1-1 count on Rizzo. Just got a piece of it. Another guy who comes to mind, the late Mike Coolbaugh, who tragically died when he was coaching first base in a minor league game. Got hit by a line drive, but very little major league time. He spent 17 years in the minors, 258 home runs. Punched out into center, base hit. Vitters went back to tag just in case. And Rizzo with his 25th knocked in. 3-0.
On our Nissan pitch tracks, like a backdoor changeup, maybe a slider that just didn't take the break. You can see Rizzo kept that front foot down, just a little weight transfer. Really uses his hands and his upper body to flip that ball out into the left to straightaway center for an RBI base hit.
Rizzo thought about it, decided to stay. Two and 0. Galarraga signed originally with Montreal out of Venezuela back in 1998. One time he was a 13-game winner with Detroit. That was in 2008. Aside from the near perfect game, has had some trouble at this level since. Rizzo runs and Soriano pops it up. Anthony able to locate the ball just before reaching second. The catch is made by Greene, 2 outs. You referred to a snowball fight. This one was probably one the Astros would rather never see again. Recently at home against the Washington Nationals. One play, collision. An overthrow at first. And then another overthrow at the plate.
That's what we call a snowball fight. Or whoever picks it up just fires it at somebody standing close to him.
Seems like the Nationals find ways to win, and seems like the Astros have found ways to lose. That one hit hard and playable. As Greene picks it up and flips to Altuve. Cubs add on to their lead on the Rizzo RBI single. 3-0.
Doritos Locos Tacos from Taco Bell.
Nice job by the Menards grounds crew as they got the field ready. Started on time tonight after a full day of rain. Sneak in tonight's AT&T mobility question. Can you name the 4 ballparks in which the Astros have played as the home team? Celebrate their 50th anniversary. Started up back in 1962 along with the other expansion team, the New York Mets. Wallace, Pierce, and Maxwell. Cubs leading 3-0. Astros manager Brad Mills had a long conversation with the home plate umpire Todd Tichenor between innings. We're not sure why.
Didn't really see any disputed play or any kind of disagreement between the players and the umpires. At this point, Brad Mills is just looking for any edge he can find. He took this job with the Astros to start the 2010 season. That year they went 76-86, 10 games under 500. Last year they were 56-106, 50 games under 500. And at this juncture of the season they're 38-78, 40 games under. So in 2+ seasons the Astros are 100 games under 500.
On May 25th they were 22-23. As Wallace strikes out, they've gone 16-55 since then, and since June 28th, 6-35.
With numbers like that, it helps to have a very understanding general manager and owner. I understand that Walter Alston himself sitting in that Astros dugout right now wouldn't make a difference.
Now, the record last year was the worst in the league and the worst ever in Astros history. First 100 loss season ever. They shattered their previous franchise high for losses by 9. 97 was the previous record, 106 last year. And they're going to threaten that again this season. So Marge are ready for a 2-1 to Pierce. There's that fastball you were talking about on the outside corner. Almost unhittable. 2-2.
Can't hit it, can't take it. I mean, until you get to 2 strikes, there's not but a handful of hitters in baseball that can do anything with that pitch. And you come right back with a slider in the same spot. That's almost not fair. The fastball before set up that slider away. The slider starts in the same location of that fastball for a called strike, but then the late movement takes it out of the zone low and away. For all intent and purposes, it looked like the same pitch to Steve Pearce.
Here's Maxwell.
Nice and smooth delivery and release on that slider. Occasionally Jeff will try to muscle up on his pitches. He's being a real nice rhythm right now. And with that in mind, Maxwell calls timeout, steps out of the box trying to break that rhythm.
He has struck out the first hitter of every inning, and in this inning, the first 2. Make it the first 3. 99.
A little extra on that one.
I think so. The fastest pitch of his career. 3-0 Cubs. Can you name the 4 ballparks the Astros have played in as the home team? It's a little bit of a trick question. You have Colt Stadium, where they started back in '62, the Astrodome, Minute Maid Park, and of course Miller Park. 2-day stretch there in 2008 against the Cubs because of the hurricane in Houston. The Cubs won both those games. The Astros had 1 hit in the 2-game series in Milwaukee. Now, while they were the home team, the Cubs fans pretty much dominated the stands. as you can imagine.
Was it Ted Lilly that threw the other game in that series?
Yeah, gave up a Mark Loretta hit, I believe, in the 7th. That was it. Wellington Castillo swings and misses. Cubs lead 3-0 in the 4th. Still got another trip to Minute Maid Park. And then after this season, the only time the Cubs will play the Astros will be, what, every 3 years or so in interleague play. Short right. Pearce went back. Now he has to race in and has it. Well, Ryan Dempster had one bad start. His debut with the Rangers. They would later win that game. He got a no decision. Ryan was very good at Fenway Park in a win his last time out. Tonight it's been a struggle. 7-2 trailing at Yankee Stadium. And he went 6 innings, gave up 9 hits, 6 runs, 2 home runs. As they now play the bottom of the 7th. Brett Jackson with a fly to left. Martinez hauls it in. White Sox trail in the 9th at Toronto. Now they just tied it 2-2. Adam Dunn with his 2nd homer. He's hit 2 solo home runs, 33 on the year. The Tigers trailing at Target Field in Minnesota 1-0 in the 4th. Other 2 games in the American League are later on. Cleveland at the Angels and the Rays at Seattle.
Barney flexing his muscles on a hanging changeup. Line drive homer into the bleachers in left field.
Big series starting in Pittsburgh tonight. Dodgers and Pirates, couple of 2nd place teams, and the Dodgers lead 4-2 at the end of 7. Shane Victorino's knocked in 3 and has homered. Padres playing well here lately. Got a 4-0 lead at Atlanta in the 7th. Chase Headley just homered.
Headley
into left, and Barney out of the 8th spot is 2 for 2. You can't help yourself.
I know. Just flash back to Blazing Saddles every time I hear his name. Darwin Barney, nice quick swing that time too. Got the top hand through there. Top spin grounder gets through that left side, no problem.
Well, when the season started, you looked at the schedule, you'd say Phillies and Marlins in Miami mid-August. That's going to be a big series. Well, it's not. Now 2 teams battling for 4th place. Phillies lead 4-0 in the 7th. Carlos Zambrano's on in relief of Nate Eovaldi, the starter.
It's a battle for the basement in the East. Those teams separated by only a game and a half going into play tonight.
Rockies 4, Brewers nothing. They're in the top of the 3rd in Denver. Michael Fiers struggling. It's been a rare event. Jeff Francis pitching for the Rockies. The matchup of the night is in San Francisco. Gio Gonzalez and Ryan Vogelsong, Nationals and Giants, in a battle of 1st place teams.
Gio Gonzalez at 14-6. Ryan Vogelsong at 10-5. This should be a good one.
Cubs still have a series at Washington and at home against San Francisco. Giants come in on the final day of August. And then right after that series, the Cubs head to Washington and Pittsburgh. That's going to be a tough stretch. Right after that, our final trip to Houston with the Astros in the National League.
Good hitters count at 3-1, especially after you've just been knocked off the plate. This could be it, Len. Oh! No!
Home run distance, but fouled by about 35 feet.
He's trying to measure it a little bit. Just a little too quick on that 3-1 fastball up in the zone. Getting closer. Oh,
Ball
look at
four.
that. They're afraid of him. Saw that long foul ball and decided they'll take their chances with David DeJesus.
Comes Doug Brocale, the Astros pitching coach. Looking for the perfect place to entertain your best customers and guests this summer? Why not bring them to the ballpark? The Nuveen Investment Suites can accommodate anywhere from 15 to 55 guests and include food, beverage, and parking. To book your premier experience at the ballpark, visit Cubs.com/suites or call 773-404-4200. Topper over the mound, charged by Altuve, out at first to end the inning. Cubs strand 2 but lead 3-0 as we head to the 5th.
Action, Jeff Samardzija on top of his game tonight. 7 strikeouts through the first 4 innings of this ball game. His season high was 11 against the Atlanta Braves earlier this season. He seems to have it all working here tonight.
It's the kind of line you see occasionally from an ace, and that's what he strives to be. And in this rotation, he is the top starter. Very calm night here at the ballpark. Very little wind. Astros will have Castro, Gonzalez, and Martinez. 6, 7, and 8. Off the plate outside. He hit 99 on his last pitch of the 4th inning.
Might have been a fastball left over from Aroldis Chapman in the last series, just laying out there behind the mound.
Interesting announcement by Freddie Gonzalez, the manager of the Braves. They're going to go to a 6-man rotation for a couple of weeks, and then at the end of this month, Freddie said, I'll pick the top 5. Got a stretch of 20 straight days without a respite. He said seniority is not a factor. He just acquired Paul Maholm. Ben Sheets is in the mix. Chris Medlin moved from the bullpen. Tommy Hansen's coming off the DL as Castro strikes out. That's 5 in a row for Samardzija going back to the 3rd inning.
Take a look on our Liberty Mutual pitch tracks. That appeared to be the splitter. That movement down and away, throwing it hard tonight at 88 miles per hour. Nasty pitch. Everything you see tells you fastball when you're standing in that batter's box, and then it comes up there about 10 miles per hour slower than your fastball.
Side to Gonzalez. We got Sheets, Mike Minor, Tim Hudson, Paul Maholm, Chris Medlin, Tommy Hansen. Nothing wrong with a little competition. It's kind of like spring training, but the games mean a lot to the Braves.
It's not like Smoltz, Glavine, and Maddox. I mean, when you got guys like that at the top of your rotation, you think about going to a 3-man rotation. But I don't really see a problem with what Freddie Gonzalez is doing. Really negative byproduct, maybe putting a little added pressure on those guys, knowing that they're pitching for a spot in that rotation for the stretch run. But then again, if you can't handle the pressure at this time of year, how are you going to handle it come pennant race time?
That's kind of the aside that you like. Let's see who steps up. Ben Sheets took the loss last night in New York. Really his first bad start. Ball 4. So Marges walked 2 tonight. Comes Martinez, the left fielder.
Really upset with himself after that last delivery. Not sure just because of pitch selection, or he was really upset. Immediately called Wellington Castillo out to the mound. Now, Chris Bosio and Dale Swaim are trying to impress upon these pitchers the importance of just throwing what the catcher calls. But that being said, there's going to be stretches during the course of the game where a pitcher has a pitch in his mind and the catcher calls for something else. I don't believe the pitchers have been told they can't shake off, but they want the guys to follow the lead of their catcher who's done the homework, who knows the opposition. Try to take the thinking part of it away from the pitcher. That time Samardzija obviously upset after that last delivery.
Finish up the Braves situation. The other thing is a health issue. You know, Freddie wants to make sure all his guys are healthy so they all get the extra day here for a couple of weeks. Got Ben Sheets coming back. Hadn't pitched in a couple of years. Tim Hudson dealing with ankle issues. Mentioned Hansen coming off the DL.
Medlin coming out of the bullpen.
Yeah. They had a huge September collapse last year and missed out on the wild card on the final day. Season ended today. They would be hosting the Pirates. One game wild card round. All that talk about the Braves trying to get Ryan Dempster and eventually acquiring Paul Maholm. If Jair Jurgens and or Randall Delgado had been better, Frank Wren wouldn't have needed to look for a starter. Right back to Samardzija. Nice play, and they're going to turn a 1-6-3 double play. Helping himself on defense. Cubs lead 3-0 in the fifth.
Giving the first 20,000 fans a chance to win free food. The Cubs get a base hit in the fifth inning. Fans with a base hit for burritos game card win a free entree.
Pitcher and pitching coach and catcher talking about things here. Jeff's been really good tonight.
It looked like there was a little mechanics being talked about right there between Jeff and the pitching coach, and then they get Wellington Castillo involved as well, perhaps talking about pitch selection or pitch location. All part of the learning process that goes on a nightly basis when you have a young team.
Josh Vitter's batting second in the lineup tonight. I wanted to get him a bunch of at-bats. Be cut off by Gonzalez. The throw dug out by Wallace. Josh, you probably should start hitting the ball to somebody else.
Yeah.
Gonzalez is playing all three of his at-bats.
Yeah, nice play that time, too, going way over, cutting in front of his shortstop to take that one away, throw off balance in time for the out.
The other thing is having Vitter second kind of breaks up the kids in the lineup with Jackson seventh. Rizzo's 2 for 2 with an RBI. Line shot, base hit in the left for his 3rd hit.
Rizzo really getting down to the basics. A little bit of a stride that time, really using his top hand, his upper body, stayed on a pitch away, drives it to the opposite field.
His 3rd 3-hit performance. Soriano out in the deep left center. Gone! 4th career homer off Galarraga. Nothing.
Number 21 on the season for Alfonso Soriano came on a slider in the middle of the plate and down right where he likes it. His 4th home run in his last 7 at-bats against Armando Galarraga.
Career homer number 361. He's now 2 RBIs away from 1,000 in his career. '71 RBIs this season. Alfonso's career high as a Cub last year, 88 knocked in. Gonzalez will get Castro, 2 outs. Up Castillo, he's nothing for 2, but catching a shutout. Cubs have pitched 8 shutouts and have been shut out themselves 11 times. So 19 shutouts overall, most in the National League. Slider strike. Gonzalez has had a busy night. He's been pretty good over there at 3rd. A couple of balls have been hit that defenders haven't had a shot at. The homer by Barney in the 2nd, and then this blast by Soriano in the 5th. 5-0 Cubs.
more on defense. Comebacker hit back to the mound. Samardzija initiates the 1-6-3 double play, the second twin killing in the game, giving the Cubs 102 double plays on the season. I believe that ranks 4th in the National League. Atlanta was #1 going into play tonight with 117. The Marlins with 114. Colorado Rockies have 103 going into play tonight, and the Cubs had 100, but 2 more added on tonight.
Brandon Barnes will hit for Galarraga, leading off the Houston 6th. Barnes was selected from AAA Oklahoma City last Tuesday, made his major league debut that night. Cranks one high and deep. Left center, Jackson back on the track. It is gone. Brandon Barnes with his first major league home run.
It looked like a harmless high fly ball off the bat, but just continued to carry a 95-mile-per-hour fastball up above the belt. Just drifted into the bleachers out there, about 2 rows up at the 368 mark.
Special moment for Barnes. He circled the bases like he was an Olympic sprinter. Man, he flew around there. Been in on Tyler Greene. Reiner Cruz up in the Houston pen. Popped up to the seats behind the plate. Snaps a string for Samardzija, which he had struck out the first batter of each of the first 5 innings. Swing and a miss, strike 3.
I mentioned Jeff Samardzija's splitter as his go-to pitch tonight. I have to say it's that slider. He's really had that outside corner wired in with both the cutter that's shorter and a little harder, and the slider that's a little bigger and a little slower, pounding away at that outside corner.
2 strikeouts off his career high of 11. One bouncer right to Vitters. He'll get Altuve. The Astros swing and miss a lot, leading the league in that category. Brett Wallace was actually drafted by the Cardinals, 13th overall pick out of Arizona State in 2008. The Astros got him from Toronto in 2010. It was the 3rd time he had been traded in a year's time.
His teammates at Arizona State with Mets first baseman Ike Davis. I don't have any stats in front of me, but I find it hard to believe there was a better set of corner infielders playing together in NCAA baseball for a long time.
3-0. Cardinals traded him to Oakland. In the Matt Holliday deal, Oakland sent him to Toronto following offseason, and then here to Houston from the Jays in July of 2010. Third walk for Jeff. Bring up Pierce.
Right fielder, Pierce.
Well, the American League Co-Player of the Week, Manny Machado. Orioles rookie. He and Adrian Gonzalez of the Red Sox. Machado 6 for 16 with a double, a triple, 3 homers, 5 runs scored, 7 knocked in. He has at least 1 extra base hit in each of the first 4 games of his career. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Pierce is gone, so are the Astros. Barnes led it off with a pinch hit homer, but it's still 5-1 Cubs. Sportsnet Central, Kip Lewis and John Moon Mullen bring you exclusive interviews, the latest roster moves, and more from Bears camp in Bourbonnais. Bears training camp reports every night on Sportsnet Central, only on Comcast Sportsnet. New pitcher for the Astros, right-hander Reiner Cruz. Making his first appearance in 5 days. A strike on rookie Brett Jackson.
Cruz originally signed by the Tigers back in 03 as a non-drafted free agent. Signed with the Mets as a minor league free agent back in 07 and then selected by the Astros in the Rule 5 draft.
From the Dominican Republic.
Good minor league numbers. Gave up only 280 base hits in 340 total innings. Also struck out 320 batters, but he did walk 209. A little bit of a low 3/4, nearly sidearm delivery. A lot of tailing action on his fastball.
Moved right past him on a fastball, 2-2. Called strike 3 as he painted on the outside. Jackson's 0 for 3.
Sidearm fastball. Right on the edge of the outside corner with some movement.
Firing strikes in the mid-90s. 0-1. Darwin Barney, go-ahead RBI with a 2-run homer in the second, a single in the fourth. It's Superman. Just kind of blends in.
Looking for a phone booth.
Three and one. Samardzija on deck. He's gone the distance. Struck out 10 Astros through 6. And ball 4.
Hey fans, remember coming to Wrigley Field when you were a kid and imagining it was you running onto the field? Well, now envision being able to give that experience to your best clients when the Cubs are on the road. Packages range from private dinners all the way to games and home run derbies in the outfield. For more details, call 773-404-4161 or visit Cubs.com/premier.
Samardzija digs in. I got a good on this date for you.
Okay.
Tell you how much the game has changed past century. Go back to 1906, August 13th. John Taylor, replaced by a relief pitcher. This is 1906 for the first time in 5 years. It says he was pitching for the Orphans. That might have been the Cubs, right? They were called the Orphans. You can look it up. Bunted by Samardzija. Wallace with the little option flip to Altuve. That goes 3-4. That was one of those I got it, you take it situations.
Unfortunately, I've never seen a bunt leave the ballpark, but very nearly gets through the Astros defense for a base hit. Nice backhanded shovel toss by Wallace to get the out at first.
So during a 5-year period, John Taylor, a right-hander, and yes, it was the Cubs, they were called the Orphans at the time, went over 1,700 innings as a starting pitcher that included 187 straight complete games.
Wow.
And he did pitch a little bit in relief, but as a starter, didn't get taken out of a game for 5 years. 39 complete games for St. Louis in 1904.
That's amazing.
In 39 starts. 352 innings that season. He went 20-19.
Interesting to hear John Taylor's opinions on pitch counts, inning limits for young pitchers.
Well, you would have had to ask him before March 4th, 1938.
Right.
He might have had opinions about lights in ballparks. He would have said, "What? What are you talking about, man?" Good play by Barney. He thought about it, as all Cub base runners do, and that ball gets away from the catcher, but he would have been out by 30 feet.
Yeah, the direction of the carom will tell you whether you can advance or not. You can see Jason Castro shuffling to his left toward third base as he scooped that ball up. That was going to be a tough advance for Barney, although you really like the fact he got a good read and was out there ready to advance.
Now, what I'm wondering is, why did he get taken out of the game on August 13th, 1906?
That's a good question. We don't really know anything about John Taylor. He might have been, 6'6", 275 pounds, and just refused to give the ball to his manager.
Ground ball up the middle. It's going to be fielded by Greene. He'll get the out. Barney, it's third now. Oh, that's it. That's the third out. You only get 3, Len.
3 in this league, yeah.
Yeah. We go to the 7th, 5-1 Cubs.
Up above, high above the United Center, my great partner, the great Pat Foley. And people ask me about the telestrator. Now, first off, for the record, I don't use any crayons. Sometimes I could use them because they don't work, but our positioning of Duncan Keith. Now, we're going to let it roll. Patrick Kane's going to move it down to Marion Hossa. Now, stop it right here.
Eddie Olczyk, the man with the telestrator, will handle the 7th inning stretch tonight. We look forward to that. A huge Cub fan. Talk a little hockey, some baseball, maybe even some horse racing with Eddie in the bottom of the 7th. Foul strike on Justin Maxwell. Oh, 0-2. Mickey Story. Check that. Xavier Cedeno. The wrong number. Story's a righty. As Maxwell bloops into right center. is only the 4th hit for the Astros. 10 strikeouts for Samardzija tonight. He's one off his career high 11 set earlier this year in Atlanta. Castro 1 for 2. Strike. Well, as good as Samardzija's stuff is, tonight has been about location and execution. He's pretty much put his pitches where he's wanted to.
As manager Dale Swaim has talked about Jeff Samardzija and the bad habit that he will occasionally get into where he just tries to overpower the baseball. Pickoff attempt. It's a short distance away from Rizzo. No chance to advance. I think maybe it's part of Jeff's football mentality. When things get tough, he just wants to muscle up and overpower the baseball, and that's when his sinker has a tendency to flatten out a little bit, and the splitter doesn't move the way you'd like it to. But when he stays in a nice rhythm, lets his body work, lets his arm get up in that good slot, that's when he's at his best.
Splitter 0-2.
For guys who are physically able to throw that split fingers, you get a look at James Russell warming up in the Cubs bullpen. I think it's a great pitch, Len. I played for Roger Craig and coached under him for so many years, and the way he describes that split finger fastball is exactly the way Jeff Samardzija throws it. You don't do anything different with your delivery. You think fastball. The only difference is the grip on the baseball is a little wider with your index and your middle finger, taking some velocity off, and when you throw it good the way Jeff Samardzija does, you get some downward tumbling action. But if you don't get the tumbling action, at least you have a really good off-speed pitch. That'll be a fastball. It's the only time you'll see the catcher come up out of their crouch like that is when they want to throw an elevated fastball just to change the hitter's eye level, give him something to look at up in his eyes, and then probably go right back down in the zone with a splitter or a hard slider.
Splitter in the dirt. 2-2.
Castro, a good double play candidate. With all the changes on their roster, he leads the team with 6 double plays grounded into this year. Just over 160 at bats.
And Castro activated on the DL today. With 2-run homers for the Cubs tonight, Barney and Soriano. Barney from the 8th spot. He's 2 for 2 with a home run, a walk. Anthony Rizzo 3 for 3 with an RBI and a run. Maxwell runs, foul tip, strike 3. Maxwell safe at second. So Samardzija tying his career high with his 11th strikeout.
Good effort by Wellington Castillo. Looked like he wanted to get up to his feet and make that throw to second base, but his right cleat got caught in the dirt back there behind home plate. He ends up just throwing from his knees on a hop to Castro, who makes a nice play himself out there to keep that ball out of center field.
Saw James Russell up in the bullpen. Samardzija now has reached the 100 pitch mark as he faces Gonzalez on the outside corner for a strike. That splitter working now. Talked earlier about his slider doing so good early on. Splitter becoming even more effective because he didn't need it early on. Barney will get the out at first. 2 down. This is the 3rd time through the order, so they've seen most of his pitches. But it's nice to hold a pitch in reserve. You don't need it the first couple of times you face a guy.
And usually you can only do that as if your first 2 pitches are real good on a given night, because otherwise if you don't like your first 2 pitches, you immediately go to that 3rd one even early in the ball game. But if you have that luxury of spotting your fastball and slider in this case early in the game, you can save that split finger till the 2nd or 3rd time through the order.
Fastball outside to Martinez. Ben Francisco has jumped into the on deck circle for Cruz. Maxwell led off the inning with a single, stole second. He's now at 3rd with 2 outs. Inside. 2-2.
A good try that time by Jeff. He's been working mostly away with that fastball, but tries to come inside. Just not quite enough tailing action to get it back to the corner.
Ground ball to Rizzo. He'll get to the bag in time. Eddie O coming up with a stretch.
Out to the ball game, Chicago Blackhawks analyst Eddie Olczyk.
Okay, Cub fans, Blackhawk fans, let me hear ya. Okay, Gary, a 1, a 2, a 3. Take me out to the ball game. Take. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back, for it's root for the. If they don't win, it's a shame. Or it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old. Hey! Thank you, Chicago!
Well deserved.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Always great to see you guys. Bob,
congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah,
That's
we're
outstanding.
Family's really thrilled, and it's something that I've wanted for a long time, and thought at times it never was going to happen. But to get a chance to go into the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame, I couldn't be more happy for my family and all the people that helped me out in my career and to represent the Chicago Blackhawks has been terrific. So we're really looking forward to the induction in October. In Dallas, Texas, I'm going to go in with 2 hockey pillars, Mr. Lamoriello, Lou Lamoriello, the president and CEO of the New Jersey Devils, and also Mike Modano, the greatest American-born scorer ever to play in the National Hockey League. So that's a pretty good line, I would say, going in with Mr. Lamoriello and Mike Modano. So I'm really thrilled.
So we've got a lot to talk about here. Well, first of all, you're a huge Cub fan, big baseball fan. I know you watch a lot of the games.
Did you dissect my opening pitch, Bob? There was a...
Got it there in the air.
Yeah, I got it there.
Yeah, you did.
The pressure
That's
was
all
on.
that matters.
The pressure was on. Oh, it's always great to get out to Wrigley Field and follow the team on a daily basis, and just great. Really happy that the Cubs invited me back to come back. So it's always great to come back to Wrigley Field.
Well, certainly, we hope the NHL season starts on time, and for purposes of this conversation, we are going to assume that's the case.
Yeah, the collective bargaining agreement expires on September 15th, so they're talking.
They're talking.
The owners and the players are talking. That's the best part about it. So hopefully, look at it a glass half full, and hopefully we'll be having hockey at the start of the season.
So tell us about kind of your thoughts about the Blackhawks heading into the training camp and the regular season coming up.
Well, I mean, when you look at it, they're getting some. They're projecting to get some healthy bodies back. Of course, Marian Hossa, Big Hoss, took that nasty hit in the playoffs last year, and they lost him against the Phoenix Coyotes. And you get a guy like Daniel Carcillo, a guy that they really missed. I mean, they missed a guy that could change the momentum of a hockey game because of his size, because of his ability to intimidate. So I think they really were missing him. You're going to get some guys that are young, and you're going to get a little bit more experience. And for Corey Crawford as well. This is a big year for him. This is only going to be his second year as a starting goaltender in the entire National Hockey League. So as young players, as you see Anthony Rizzo here on this check swing, I mean, those type of things. I mean, young players are going to go through ups and downs, and I think for Corey Crawford, this will be his second year as a starting goaltender, and he needs to take that. He needs to take that next step, because you guys know if you don't have goaltending in a National Hockey League, you're not going to win. Doesn't matter who's coaching, how good of a team you have. You need consistent goaltending, and this is a big year for a lot of reasons.
Rizzo strikes out, and the throw by Castro is in time. We have some ticket info. The Blackhawks fans out there. Regular season tickets go on sale next Monday at 10 a.m.
Boy, I feel like I got to be reading this promo. You got the headset on? I got the promo? No, go ahead. It's your booth.
Preseason schedule starts in a month and a half against the Detroit Red Wings.
Couple good games. Red Wings,
really
Penguins,
good games.
Flyers.
Yeah, Penguins and Flyers coming in. You would have loved the last trip. We went out to Los Angeles and San Diego, and the theme of the trip was hockey, and all the players and Dale and his staff, they wore NHL sweaters. Dale Swain wore a Daniel Carcillo sweater, and I would say 90% of the jerseys were Blackhawks jerseys.
Well, that's a good thing. That is a good thing. Any old check jerseys by chance, or no?
You know what? No. I should have worn one, but I didn't see any. These guys are all 22, 23 years old.
They have no idea. They just know me as a broadcaster. That's okay, though.
And we tried to get one, but every shop we called said we're sold out. We're sold out. Who? I'm glad you're here, Eddie, because I want to ask you, we joke about this all the time. Why in the game of hockey wouldn't you get a goalie the size of William Refrigerator Perry and teach him how to just stand on skates and strap all those pads and just
angles, right?
fill up the cage, you know?
It's a good question. I think it's sometimes, I almost thought about that when I was coaching in Pittsburgh. I had two goaltenders. I wanted to play them at the same time, and didn't work out too well until we drafted Marc-Andre Fleury, who was one of the best goaltenders in the National Hockey League and won a Stanley Cup for the Penguins a couple of years ago. But got some big goaltenders now, not that wide as the fridge, but we got some guys now, Bob, that are 6'4", 6'5", that are really athletic and play that position. So take up more of the net. Tough for a shooter to put it by him.
If you know anybody 4 feet by 6 feet, tell them to call Stan Bowman.
Yeah, right.
Soriano takes a base. I got to ask you about this, Eddie. I know the Winnipeg Jets near and dear to your heart. You played the final game in the
96,
first incarnation in Jets history, but it's great to have them back in the league, isn't it?
It's a great hockey town. There's no doubt. It's always been a National Hockey League city. Unfortunately, back in '96, the economics just kind of took the team away and ended up in Phoenix for the Coyotes. But they're back, and I think they're better than ever. They got a beautiful arena there, and games are sold out, and they got some really good young players there. And of course, former Blackhawk, Big Buff, Dustin Buff. I'm talking about big guys. Bob, he's in Winnipeg playing there and has played very well. So yeah, it's great to see the National Hockey League back in Winnipeg.
As you know, I watch as much hockey as I can, and I saw the game against the Canadians. It was their first game of the year, and they were down 5-3 with a minute to go, and there was a standing ovation. It was pretty neat.
Yeah, that's I could never imagine. Like, look, growing up here in the greatest city in the world, I could never imagine my favorite team, the Cubs, the Hawks, all the sports teams, Sox, Bulls, Bears. I could never imagine as a young person seeing my team leave town. I don't know. And when I was there, I mean, we left. I was a part of the team skating off in the sunset. I didn't go with the team to Phoenix. I ended up going to Los Angeles for a cup of coffee. But yeah, I know what that did. I know how I would have felt as a young fan, how that would have just taken the team away. You know, as a young fan, I mean, you don't understand business and all. You just, that's your game, that's your sport. That's, you live and die for that team. But it's great to see the team back, and I think they're there for. Forever's a long time, Len and Bob, but I think they're there for pretty close to that, that's for sure. I think the second game of the year is in Winnipeg this year for the Hawks.
You're
so
right.
I'm looking forward to going back. First time with the team back in the National Hockey League.
Well, I've got a game circled on the schedule, Hawks and the Leafs in Toronto, Hockey Night in Canada on a Saturday. I'm planning on being there in October.
Come on up.
So call the commission, tell them Skeezen has to start on time.
I'll get on my BlueBerry or BlackBerry, and I'll get right on that. Let the commissioner know that you have plans.
Well, your other partner, I mean, your great partner Pat Foley, as we saw in the video highlight, out I'm sure playing golf today. But
I think he's on his way to play golf somewhere.
On his way to play golf. Your
probably
other partner, Doc Emery, calling water polo.
Yeah, water polo. How good is Doc? Wow.
They didn't ask you.
They didn't. They did not ask. They didn't. It wasn't on the totem pole, so to speak, to get over in the Olympics. But brought back a lot of memories for me. I mean, to watch the Olympics and see the opening ceremonies. I was lucky enough to represent our country in the sporting world in '84 in Sarajevo and play in the Olympics following the 1980 Miracle on Ice team and playing that as a 17-year-old was a great thrill and kind of brings back a lot of memories anytime the Olympics come around. So it was a lot of fun to watch the Olympics in London.
One got away from Castro. The other Castro, Starlin, taking the second consecutive walk here with 2 outs in the inning, which gives us more time with Eddie O. And I want you to talk about the Eddie Olczyk Award.
Well, it's an award that I'm lucky enough that the Blackhawks have asked me to be one of their instructors for the Blackhawk youth hockey camps. Andy Kamas, who's a youth hockey director for the Blackhawks, does such a wonderful job. And we run hockey camps over the course of the summer and all throughout the year. But the money that we bring in for our hockey camps, we put that money back into the youth hockey community. And we have families, we have organizations, we have coaches, we have people that have letters of inquirement. And if they're looking for a need to help them play what I think is the greatest game in the world, we give them that opportunity. And last year we gave over $24,000 back to the hockey community here in Chicago, and I couldn't be more thrilled. This was 3 years in the making. John McDonough and Jay Blunk, who you guys know very well and spent many years in this beautiful field, now in charge of the Chicago Blackhawks under Rocky Wirtz's umbrella. To have that honor in my name, I could not be more honored and humbled, and to be able to give back to the community that I grew up in, that's the cherry on the banana cream pie. That's my favorite.
Pretty special. There's Castillo with 2 outs. All right, so Bob envisioned a different kind of goalie, and I guess we have a rendition of what that might look like.
There you go.
There you go, right there.
Problem solved.
Let me just say something. In the game of hockey, between the legs when you score on a goaltender is 5-hole. To me, that's on the fridge. That's a 50-hole.
I like it.
Terrific guy, though, the fridge.
Knocked down into foul territory. That's a fair ball. Soriano will score. A broken bat one hopper that had all kinds of English on it. And the Cubs rallying here with 2 outs, take a 6-1 lead.
And Brett Wallace tries to cover this ball like a live grenade. Jumped up and hit him. Looked like almost in the side of the face. You mentioned all the English on that ball as it got down there to first base. Took a squirrely hop, came back up and hit him in the side of the jaw. Goes into foul territory, allowing Soriano to score and Castro to advance to third.
So that will be it for Cruz. It's a Honda call to the pen. We're with Eddie Olczyk, and we'll be back. 6-1 Cubs in the 7th. Left-handers on for the Astros here in the 7th inning. Cubs leading 6-1. We're here with Blackhawks TV analyst Eddie Olczyk. And Francisco also in to play left. All right, so we had the shot of you with the telestrator and the stop it right here. When did that start? Did you just say it once and thought, ooh, that's kind of neat?
Yeah, I really didn't know how to tell our great crew at Comcast Sports Center or on WGN to stop the telestrator. So figure listening's a skill and roll the telestrator, and I stop it right there, and it's stuck.
I like it.
And anybody that's ever worked with a telestrator before, if you don't and they let the video continue to roll, you're drawing things that mean absolutely nothing.
And
so that's
right.
That's a wise move.
And you wear the cap too after that. It's a great tool, especially in a game of hockey. It is terrific. It's hopefully people learn and try to teach them about the game. And look, what's happened with the Blackhawks in the four straight years of sellouts, 5 years of sellouts, a lot of new fans coming in, be able to teach the game. It's a quick game, and you got to be able to give them a little bit of something, and that's kind of my goal every night. And Pat and I know that, hey, when people are turning it on, they're there to watch the game, but if we can teach them and tell them why, like you guys do on Nightly Baitless, Bob, and that's it's like it's kidded around about my crayon. Sometimes, I try to draw a circle and an arrow pops out or nothing happens, and that's where we have our technical difficulties. So, but it's a great teaching skill, and hopefully people can learn from it. And so then when they go to the United Center or see a game maybe on the road, like with you, Len, going to Toronto, hopefully, and you can see things develop. So it's become a great teaching tool for me, and I think it's helped me become a better broadcaster.
Jackson's going to ground out to end the inning. Well, you're just like my partner. You see things in your game that I don't see, and that's why you're so great at what you do.
I take that with great compliment.
Eddie, thanks so much for the time.
Thanks a lot for having me.
Thank
you very much. Bob, congrats again. Thank you very much.
6-1 Cubs. There he is.
12 Cup season, including the next homestand against the Rockies, the Brewers, and the Giants beginning August 24th right here at Wrigley Field. To purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com, call 1-800-THE-CUBS, or visit the Wrigley Field box office.
Left-hander James Russell. Great performance by Jeff Samardzija, tying his career best with 11 strikeouts. Love me some Eddie O. He's great.
A little fun with that telestrator stuff. That really is an art. I've had the fortune or misfortune to work with a telestrator in some network games from time to time, and you really do have to work very closely with your director and let him know exactly when you want that video to stop. Otherwise, you're drawing circles where there's nothing to circle.
Francisco with a sky-high pop-up is caught by Barney.
But he's right. It's an especially valuable tool in hockey. Such a fast-moving game, and if you're not real familiar with the intricacies and the nuances of the game of hockey, a lot of stuff can slip right by you, and Eddie catches it all.
You see a puck go to the net and 4 guys in front. Just ends up in the net, and he says, "I think this guy tipped it." And we show the replay, and he was exactly right. One to Greene, fouled off. 0-2. That ball hit deep center field and caught. I thought it was going to go. Greene just missed one as Jackson makes a catch on the warning track for the second out. They had a home run sound off the bat.
That was a pretty good approach that time by Tyler Greene. Waited back on that breaking pitch from James Russell. Squared it up pretty good, but it just didn't carry as well as some of the other fly balls we've seen in this game tonight.
Swing and a miss by Altuve. One of the 31,452 will take that one home.
It turned out to be a beautiful night here at Wrigley Field. No wind, very, very calm, comfortable temperatures. It's not quite that bright, but the lights are on.
In the dirt. Another foul off to the right. Altuve got a piece of that one. Kerry Wood fan out there in the bleachers. Full count, 3-2. Brett Wallace on deck. Driving stop, Vitters to his feet. That's the inning. Vitters has played a pretty smooth third base since coming up a little over a week ago. Cubs lead 6-1 in the 8th. Cedeno to Barney as we start the Cubs 8th. Joe Mather on deck to hit for Russell. It's like Carlos Marmol will look to get the final 3 outs in a non-save spot tonight. Barney gave the Cubs the lead with a 2-run homer in the second. Two balls, no strikes. Outside. Finals now. Padres 4, Braves 1. Eric Stoltz over Mike Minor. Stoltz excellent. He went into the 8th. Ball 4. Tomorrow on Comcast Sportsnet, Central Division action rolls on as Anthony Rizzo and company are back in action against the rival Astros here in the friendly confines. Coverage starts at 6:30 with Subaru Cubs pregame live. Cubs and Astros tomorrow night at 6:30 on Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best friend.
Darwin Barney filling up the box score tonight. His second consecutive walk. He also singled and a 2-run homer. His first at bat in the ball game.
Cole Hamels with back-to-back shutouts. Second one tonight. 4-0 over the Miami Marlins for his 13th win. 22 inning scoreless streak. David Cooper with a game-ending RBI single. The Blue Jays beat the White Sox 3-2 in 11. Adam Dunn had 2 homers tonight to supply all their offense. Cedeno can't find the strike zone, so Doug Brocail is out to tell him to find the strike zone.
Well, while they're looking for the strike zone, we invite you to come watch the Cubs as they take on the Astros this Wednesday afternoon. Game time is 1:20 right here at Wrigley Field. Throughout the game, lucky seat winners will receive special giveaways, compliments of Frito-Lay. For more information and to purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com.
Two teams in the American League matching up. Yankees beating Ryan Dempster and the Rangers 8-2 in the Bronx. Nick Swisher with a grand slam in the 3rd inning. Joe Mather wraps a base hit into center. Barney around second, on his way to 3rd. Mather trying to get to second. He's going to be out.
Nice swing, nice line drive into right center field off the bat of Joe Mather. Barney had to hold up initially to make sure it got through, but then turns the corner, heads for 3rd. Mather had a good read. He saw the high throw from Maxwell out in center field, tried to advance on to second base. But a pretty heads-up play by their 3rd baseman that time, as Marwin Gonzalez saw that Mather was trying to sneak in the back door there at second base. He stepped up, cut the throw off, and got it to Altuve in time for the out at second. Where Gonzalez fields that ball running across the infield. Knew they had no play at 3rd, but they did have a play at second.
He's had a really impressive night on defense. Breaking ball misses to DeJesus with the infield drawn in. Dodgers beat the Pirates 5-4. Garrett Jones went 4 for 4 with 3 RBIs in a losing effort for the Pirates. So they're now 5 games back of idle Cincinnati. The Dodgers, meanwhile, are within a half game of the first place Giants. They're trailing 1-0 to the Nationals in the 2nd. Now 3-1. Pitch. Ball 4. Now, how about this, Bob? Derek Lowe made his Yankee debut tonight in their win. He got a 4-inning save.
Of course, Derek Lowe has been a starting pitcher throughout most of his career, but this season he's been a starter. So, yeah, he's stretched out. He's capable of throwing 4, saving the bullpen.
Right-hander David Phelps started and went 3. He got the win. Lowe 4 innings, 2 hits, no runs. They get the save. Josh Vitters fouls right behind the plate.
4 at bats, 4 ground balls to third base. Try somebody else.
Talking to somebody on the bench?
Yeah, I think so.
Huh.
He's always talking to somebody.
Two and one.
Sometimes he just talks. Not even to anybody.
What was he? Ryan Friel, didn't he have an invisible friend?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Barney or something? Darwin Barney could talk to Farney. That would make sense. Right field, little slip out there by Pierce. Makes a catch, Barney tagging. He will score. Vitters gets his 3rd RBI as a big leaguer, 7-1.
I don't know if you noticed it happened rather quickly, but Darwin Barney back to the bag at 3rd and actually started moving before the ball was in the glove of the right fielder, Steve Pearce. His foot was still on the base, but he was gathering his momentum, getting ready, so when the ball did hit the glove, he already had his weight on his front foot, his left foot on the bag, and could advance on to home plate.
Cubs have scored in 5 different innings. Rookie Jeff Beliveau up in the home bullpen.
Marmol was up when this inning started, but when Darwin Barney reached via the base on balls to start the inning, Beliveau got up and joined Marmol. And now that the Cubs have added another run, Marmol's had a seat. It looks like Jeff Beliveau is going to pitch tonight.
Ground ball base hit, number 4 on the night for Rizzo. Jesus will stop at 3rd. 4 singles for Anthony Rizzo.
He rolls over on that one a little bit. His other base hits in this game, he stayed up the middle of the field or the opposite way. That time he rolled over just a little, but finds a hole up the middle of the field for another base hit. Stay hot.
Second 4-hit game as a Cub. breaking ball for a strike to Soriano. But he didn't get it. Caught by Maxwell to end the inning. Soriano bidding for his second homer tonight. We will go to the ninth. All Cubs tonight, 7-1. Night for Jeff Samardzija, and an out that he didn't get. Looked like he had Tyler Greene picked off. It was called safe. No harm, no foul. Cubs lead 7-1. Mather stays into play left. And Jeff Beliveau instead of Carlos Marmol, as Bob mentioned, here in the ninth. It's Chicago Sports News Nightly on GMC Sportsnet Central, coming in tonight at 10 on Comcast Sportsnet. Pat Boyle and Mark Shanowski will have highlights and post-game react from tonight's game. Kip Lewis will have a report on the final night practice from Bears camp as well. GMC Sportsnet Central tonight at 10, only on Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best friend.
Key for Jeff Beliveau has always been throw strikes. His last 3 outings against the Reds, the Padres, and the Dodgers, no walks in 4 innings of work. Jeff has a little bit of a short arm delivery. It's that ball back behind his head, back behind his shoulders as he makes his turn, hides it from the hitter for a long time.
This is 0-1 to Brett Wallace. A swing and a miss on a breaker. 2 strikes. Win tonight for the Cubs. That would keep that streak going in this season series. Home team winning every game. Cubs got swept in Houston in May, but they returned the favor starting in late June. Barney for out number 1.
Follow the Cubs with the MLB.com at Bat 12 app for your iPhone, iPad, Android, and Windows Mobile. Get live audio, pitch tracking, video highlights, and more. Text at BAT to 31826 or visit Cubs.com for details.
Steve Pearce with 1 out. Came in with a career best 8-game hitting streak, but without a hit in his first 3 at bats. Former Cub Jerry Hairston Jr. just cannot stay healthy. He's going to the DL with the Dodgers. Sore left hip. It's been bothering him for a while. Two and one.
That's a key pitch for any pitcher. When you fall behind in the count 2-0 and have to throw a strike, the ability to continue to work the edges of the strike zone, that time right at the bottom of the knees. If you have to throw too many pitches right down the heart of the plate, it's going to be a tough go. But if you can still make good pitches when you're behind in the count and get the call from the home plate umpire, that's going to help keep runners off base.
Just missed for ball 4. How about this? When the Angels win, Albert Pujols has hit .345, is on base over 400. He's slugged .655. When they've lost, he's hit .204 with a slugging percentage of .356. I'd say he's pretty important. He's been slumping. 1 for his last 23. Chris Bosio gets on the phone for the bullpen. Somebody's going to get up.
You have to believe it's Marmol again. He was close to being ready to come into the game before the Cubs added that tack-on run. They sat him down, got Beliveau up, and Marmol's going to take the jacket off once again.
Swing and a miss.
Straight changeup that time by Jeff Beliveau. His third pitch, doesn't use it often, but a real good one right there with some movement away from the right-handed hitter.
Popped into shallow right. DeJesus with the catch. 2 outs. Lefty versus lefty. Beliveau against Jason Castro. back with you on CSN tomorrow night. Lucas Harrell against Chris Volstad, who's still looking for his first win as a Cub. Pierce takes second without a throw. No steal for Pierce with his team down 6. Here comes the 0-2. Called strike 3. Cubs win. Cubs win 7-1 the final, as Jeff Samardzija gets his 8th victory of the year. And the offense able to bust out with 7 runs, couple of home runs tonight. Barney and Soriano. Anthony Rizzo went 4 for 4, but it always starts with that starting pitcher, doesn't it?
Yeah, I was absolutely going to say that, Len. You get a starting pitcher on the mound that's on top of his game. You feel like the game is pretty much under control. It relieves a lot of pressure on the offense, and that's what Jeff Samardzija did tonight. Had everything working from the first pitch of the ball game. Able to keep his emotions in check, keep his mechanics together, and just carved his way through this Astros lineup tonight.
First win in his last 5 starts. First win since July 23rd at Pittsburgh, a 2-0 victory. And we're waiting for Luke Stuckmeyer, who is standing by with Darwin Barney.
Thank you, Len. Darwin, one of the offensive stars, but I want to talk about your defense first. That's 100 straight games, a franchise record without an error at second. It takes a lot of preparation. How do you get yourself ready to be that successful?
It's just developing a routine. I think that's something that Pat and Kazzy and I have worked on since spring training, is developing that routine to be ready to play every day on the defensive side. And obviously our positioning helps, gets us in a defensive attitude out there.
Jeff Samardzija was really working quick out there. He did a nice job of getting ahead of batters. How does that help you as a defender?
Well, it helps a lot. It's fun playing behind him. He induces ground balls. He works quick. He's fiery out there. So, it's the kind of guy you like to play behind, and it definitely helps the defense.
You want to tell us about the home run swing, a big night at the plate?
We're just trying to get a good pitch to hit, drive something up the middle, and, I saw something up and hit it pretty well. But, it was a good night all around for everybody.
All right, go get him again tomorrow.
All right,
congratulations. His run of errors only passes Ryne Sandberg. That's over 800 innings now without an error at second base. Len?
Yep. Pretty amazing, Luke. 100 straight games at second without a defensive miscue. He's played Gold Glove-like defense all season long. Well, it's going to wrap it up from the ballpark for Bob and Luke, John Walsh, Dave Turner, Tamara Anderson, Mark Harper, Jim Corno Jr., Paulo Ascroba, and our entire CSN Plus crew. Our final score tonight, Cubs 7, Astros 1. Again, tomorrow 6:30 for a pregame coverage, and we'll have Game 2 at 7. The Astros and the Cubs on Comcast Sportsnet. In-game scoring provided by ScorePad. Post-game live coming up from the ballpark. You've been watching Cubs baseball on Comcast Sportsnet, now part of the NBC Sports Group.